and taking out the trash.
And who's the trash?
The Democratic Party.
Democratic Party? Democratic Party are trash?
Yep.
And what were your thoughts on Joe Biden calling some of Trump's supporters trash or garbage?
It's a terrible thing to say,
Yeah.
especially since we're all American. We're all one people. So.
Did he even hear what he said literally 1 second ago? It's the same circus every time. They dish out offensive garbage to everyone. But the moment someone claps back, suddenly they're the innocent victims.
What do you want to see the Republicans do first day in office?
Our involvement in foreign wars, making things worse is costing us money.
So no more money to Israel, no more money to Ukraine.
I would say no more money.
Well, that didn't last long. Now it's just take all our money. They're hurling everything they've got at the so-called Holy Land like it's some divine donation bin.
I see your hat. Jesus is my savior. Trump is my president. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, Kamala doesn't even speak about Jesus, you know? Trump does. And I think he's a really good man. He's a Christian man.
He's a Christian man? He's living God's worst nightmare with acts like cheating, SA, and probably sins we haven't even invented yet. So I don't think he likes that orange man very much.
If you don't want to work, if you just want to be lazy and you don't want to do anything and just live off of the taxpayers, I don't believe that God would condone that in the least bit.
Oh, absolutely. Because obviously God is deeply concerned about tax revenue. How else is he supposed to fund heaven?
My empathy and compassion has limits, especially when you get exactly what you voted for. So this is my advice to the farmers for Trump who are getting exactly what they voted for. Instead of being upset, instead of complaining, just feel great again.
I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I love seeing leopards eat faces. It is one of my favorite things to see. Especially faces that knew they were gonna get eaten if they voted this way.
I've never been as worried as I am now.
You better be.
Whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of my love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is. And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old. And I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Yeah, much worse.
In the spring. So my son will not be the second generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here.
We told you guys. We told you this for months, years. The economy is dog shit. If you elect Donald Trump, it's going to fucking collapse, basically. But no, you didn't want that. And now your farms are gonna disappear. And farmers are fucking important as shit. Those motherfuckers give us food. Donald Trump don't give a fuck about that. Donald Trump's gonna eat. He's rich. Fuck you and me. Fuck us when it comes to eating. That's why he doesn't give a fuck. Donald Trump will never give a fuck. I think we're too fucking deep in this shit. I don't even know how to fix this. If it's even possible to be fixed, it's gonna take decades to get back to some kind of normality. Decades.
Oh, hi everybody. I hope you have the day that you voted for. Sounds condescending, doesn't it? It's meant to, don't worry. Because as more people are entering that find out stage where they actually find out that they're not going to be billionaires and that racism is also expensive, you're going to be hearing that a lot more. This supercilious statement is meant to be patronizing. It's meant to sound arrogant. It's meant to drive home the fact that many people who voted for Trump for reasons that often drive wedges between families are now being faced with the realities of that vote. And I'm not talking about the diehards, the people that'll continue to think everything is cheaper and this is all fine, not satirically, but actually realistically fine. No, I'm talking about the ones that are looking around at their new reality and being like, oh, well, fuck. Specifically today, I'm talking about farmers. And I get it. You read expanded tax breaks and subsidies for farmers and you thought it was for you. But instead of listening when you were told that it was for the rich ones, like pretty much everything else with this administration, you thought, nah, it'll help me. And if you're not one of the farmers that voted for Trump, then I'm not talking about you. Put yourself to the side. But the ones that did, none of this is going to help you in any meaningful way. Most of it is going to actively hurt you. And that's not even getting into the passive ripple effect of things like SNAP benefits being cut. For every dollar spent on the SNAP program, it generates an estimated $1.50 to $1.79 which is a damn good return on investment. You take that deal, I'll take that deal. That's a damn fine deal. SNAP also acts as an economic stabilizer and provides a consistent market for crops and livestock during weak economic times. What are we in right now? Because it increases demand through the food supply chain. But hey, to understand any of that, you would have to have empathy, and you would have to understand empathy, which I obviously don't, since you can all go fuck yourselves for creating the problem that you're bitching about right now. I voted to help you. You thought you were voting to help yourselves. And when you find yourself sitting in a dark corner of your living room, pondering existence, wondering where's the left's empathy, my empathy for you went out the door after you were told 37 times that the stove was hot and you still fucking touched it. And you touched it anyway because you don't like brown people and you love Jesus, who coincidentally would have been fucking brown. Anyway, it's day 232 in a series in which I ask myself, do I have to go to work today? If the answer is yes, I don't care. Here we go. Do you have to go to work today? No, I don't. But I do suggest that you find your bootstraps somewhere and give them a yank, I guess. See you tomorrow.
MAGA crowds chanting "Build the wall," red hats everywhere, promises of jobs booming and prices dropping like magic. Fast forward, and those same voters are hit with farm bailouts yanked, tariffs jacking up costs, and jobs vanishing. These clips capture the raw gripes, folks calling out the hypocrisy while MAGA dodges blame. The twist: their votes fueled this mess. Let's break it down, poke at those rally regrets, and drop some solid steps to navigate the fallout and vote smarter next time.
Wait a minute. So farmers are suing Trump because they want their stimulus checks back. Oh, no. Y'all voted for this, remember? Elections have consequences, baby. So here's the tea. Joe Biden and Congress put grants together to give money to farmers. Trump gets in and what does he do? Cuts contracts, snatches the money, and leaves the farmers high and dry. But now the same folks who cheered him on are like, we want our money. Now let's connect the dots real quick on something. For decades, farmers have been living on government handouts, billions in subsidies to keep their farms afloat. While some of those same farmers turn around and point their fingers at families on food stamps. And they have the nerve to call them welfare queens. Nah, let's call it what it is. The biggest welfare queens in American society are wearing overalls, not wigs and heels. And here's the irony. Farmers love to preach about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, guess what, farmers? Take your own advice. If you can't sustain your farm without taxpayer bailouts, maybe farming ain't your ministry, boo. Because my tax dollars and your tax dollars shouldn't be propping up businesses that can't sustain on their own. So no, farmers shouldn't get a dime.
Spot on. The irony's thick with MAGA farmers who bashed welfare now begging for handouts after voting in cuts. They preached bootstraps, but leaned on subsidies forever. For anyone in ag facing this, pivot to sustainable practices. Rotate crops, invest in solar for lower costs, or partner with community-supported ag programs to sell direct. I agree fully. Stop vilifying others on aid. Research farm policy platforms before voting to protect your operation and the economy as a whole.
Elections have consequences, and farmers are finally feeling it. What do you think? So should we keep footing the bill for people who keep vilifying other people who depend on assistance? Or is it finally time that farmers actually live by their own rules? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear if y'all truly are done funding America's real welfare queens.
It often feels as if Donald Trump is politically invincible, but I promise you he isn't. And they're using the same strategy that they use for everything with the economy right now, which is lying through their teeth. They're just going to keep telling Americans, oh, this is great, we're doing amazing. But Americans are not buying that bullshit. I'm going to walk you through some numbers today that prove it. And I'm going to show you Stephen Miller just lying so shamelessly through his teeth. Give you some hope for the 2026 midterms because I'm telling you Americans are catching on. Before I show you this video from Stephen Miller, let's back up a little bit. Consider the following. This political article was written just a week ago. Quote, the latest numbers speak to a gulf between the glittery economic story Trump has told thus far and the lived reality at this moment for many Americans. Businesses added just 22,000 jobs in August. The U.S. actually lost 13,000 jobs in June, according to the latest revision. And so far in 2025, the U.S. economy has added fewer than 600,000 jobs. And excluding COVID-19, that's the quote, fewest for the first 8 months of the year since 2009. If you talk to any recent college graduate right now, I know many of them personally, some of my best friends, I could name 5 or 6 people off the top of my head who have submitted over 200 job applications and don't have a job. This is the slowest pace of hiring this country has seen besides the pandemic since the 2008 recession, essentially. And that's scary. That's bad. It's also bad because we're also seeing inflation continue to rise. And so when the job market's really slowing down and inflation is still rising, we call that the Fed's worst nightmare, or stagflation. The other thing is inflation is rising with Donald Trump's tariffs, and he keeps saying we're bringing manufacturing back. But manufacturing jobs declined for the 4th straight month in August, the longest stretch since COVID, since 2020. Over the past year, employment in the sector is down by nearly 80,000 jobs.
You're right. The numbers don't lie. MAGA bought the winning hype, but now they're staring at job droughts and rising costs from those blanket tariffs they cheered. Thought it'd bring factories home? Instead, 80,000 manufacturing gigs gone. If you're job hunting, especially recent grads, network on LinkedIn, upskill via free Coursera certs in high-demand fields like renewables. Totally back you, push for midterms, vet candidates on trade deals that actually boost jobs without inflating everything.
80,000 jobs. So Donald Trump is promising this huge manufacturing boom that Joe Biden actually partially delivered on with the Chips and Science Act. But the economy's getting crushed, manufacturing is getting crushed, and inflation is rising. All of this is happening because of his tariffs and his economic policies. So what happens to conservatives who are supporting Donald Trump, who are trying to talk to their constituents? Well, this guy literally ended up having to run out of the room in Alabama. This is a conservative representative, a MAGA representative from Alabama, a House rep. And in this video, he's being asked questions about tariffs. Hey, are tariffs paid for by consumers? He literally won't answer. He will not answer. Take a listen.
Who pays the tariff? Is it consumers or the exporting country?
So right now, what we just saw in the report is that we haven't seen inflation at all. If y'all saw the report,
That wasn't the
2%
question.
on units.
That wasn't a question.
So if there was inflation, you would see it.
The tariff! Who pays the tariff? Who pays the tariff? Who pays the tariff? Who pays the tariff? Who pays the tariff?
Can I at least tell you about the tariffs?
No, tell us who pays it. And then you're done.
There's a couple things you need to know about tariffs, but do y'all realize that after World War II, the Marshall Plan coming out of World War II said, okay, Germany and Japan, in order to help you rebuild, we're not gonna, you can sell your cars in America, but we're not gonna force U.S. autos to sell into foreign countries. And so that's why when you go to Berlin, Germany, you do not see a General Motors product. When you go to Japan, you do not see in Tokyo, you don't see Fords, but you see Mercedes. It's been going on a long, long time.
Nailed it. That rep dodging tariff questions like a hot potato shows MAGA's playbook. Deflect when policies bite back. They voted for America first. But now consumers foot the bill while reps ramble history lessons. For folks hit by higher costs, track expenses with apps like Mint, buy bulk staples or join co-ops for deals. I support this call-out. Demand transparency. Before elections. Compare tariff impacts on real data sites like bls.gov to avoid these runarounds.
So we went from he's going to fix the economy and he's going to bring down the price of groceries and the cost of living, and he's going to get rid of taxes on overtime income and tip income, to he's going to run up the deficit, he's going to buy $500 million in Cybertrucks, he's going to get rid of Medicaid, or Medicare was it, I don't want to misspeak, he's going to try to privatize or destroy Social Security, he's going to give more tax breaks to billionaires, and he's raising taxes on the low and middle income earners in this country. And at no point will any Trump supporter ever admit that they were stupid, because they are stupid. They will somehow continue to move the goalpost. You voted for a moron because you're a moron. And rather than admit that you got played, you're going to keep on with this sunk cost fallacy because you're in a cult.
Exactly. MAGA's stuck in denial. Moving goalposts as promises flop, from tax cuts for overtime to deficit balloons. They rallied hard, now cult-like, refusing to admit the con. If you're feeling the pinch, reassess finances. Cut subscriptions, side hustle on platforms like Upwork. I agree, it's sunk cost at its worst. Break free by joining nonpartisan groups like Common Cause for Policy Education. Vote on facts, not hype, to rebuild stability.
Well, I guess if there's any solace, it's that while the rest of our lives are being ruined, your lives are also going to be ruined because you are way closer to being homeless than you are to being a millionaire.
Want is an American business to fail. I don't know how much more we're going to see for the next 3 or 4 years. Last thing I want is an American farmer to go under because us as Americans didn't want to do anything to support them.
How much support did they give us when they stepped into that fucking voting booth in November? How much support are they giving to people who are being snatched up off the street and being sent to other countries? How much support are they giving members of the LGBTQ plus community who are waiting on pins and needles for the Supreme Court to decide if it's going to hear the argument against Obergefell? How much support are they giving to children when they voted for someone who cut education benefits? They weren't real concerned about people having to go hungry or losing their homes or losing their access to medical care when they walked into that voting booth. Or better yet, how often have we heard them proudly cheer when there are cuts to social safety net programs like Medicaid and SNAP? Because in their mind, they don't deserve a handout. But that's exactly what they're standing up there asking for. They're asking for a fucking handout. Call it a bailout. Call it whatever you fucking want to. Okay? But their farms are failing because of their own actions. That's a handout. A bailout would be if they were losing their farms due to no fault of their own. They want sympathy. Look between shit and syphilis in the dictionary because you ain't gonna find it here. If your hatred is greater than your desire to hang on to your family's land, you deserve whatever you fucking get.
You're calling it straight. MAGA farmers who voted against safety nets now cry for bailouts, ignoring the harm to others like immigrants or LGBTQ folks. Hypocrisy at peak when they cheered cuts but beg for their own. For rural families in this boat, explore USDA loans for diversification or switch to high-value crops like organics. Fully on board. Own the vote. Advocate locally for inclusive policies. Check platforms on sites like votesmart.org to ensure support matches needs.
I mean, she ain't lying. The same people that scream to the rest of us, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, are out here asking for a government check. Y'all are okay with socialism as long as it benefits you. But for the rest of us, fuck us, right? Well, thoughts and soybeans. China purchases 60% of the world's soybeans. And y'all thought y'all president having a tariff war and a trade war with China was going to benefit y'all. Y'all are dumb. Whiteness is a hell of a drug, and racism is expensive as fuck and potentially can cost y'all farms.
Bang on. The tariff war is MAGA hyped as wins are tanking soybean sales, costing farms big because bias blinded them to real economics. Thought it'd hurt China? Backfired on their own fields. If exporting's your game, hedge with futures markets or diversify exports via trade groups. I back this truth. Ditch the hate. Study global trade impacts pre-vote. Use resources like Farm Bureau reports for smarter choices that sustain livelihoods.
Have the day you voted for.
Has anybody else noticed that MAGA folks are constantly angry these days? It's like nothing's going right for them. Gas prices are up, grocery prices are brutal, the job market's shaky, and instead of admitting that their orange idol hasn't delivered on a damn thing that he's promised, they're taking it out on us. Think about it. He said he was going to drain the swamp. He built the swamp a resort and charged admission. He slapped blanket tariffs on everything that were supposed to help the economy, but all it really did is raise prices for everyone. He promised to bring back American manufacturing. Nope, companies are leaving the United States. He gave the super wealthy tax breaks while screwing over the American people, cutting the social safety net programs that, let's be honest, red states disproportionately benefit from. He promised healthcare plans better, cheaper, and for everyone. Never happened. And now his supporters are left empty-handed, so what do? They lash out. They're screaming at school boards, bullying people online, and raging about Taylor Swift. Because it's easier to throw a tantrum at the rest of us than to admit that they got conned. Again. They know deep down that Trump didn't deliver, but hey, I hope they enjoy their misery.
To Donald Trump's presidency. How are y'all feeling? Let's see. The price of groceries are still high. Gas prices are still on the rise. Inflation has went up 3%. And remember, this was all supposed to happen day one. So we went from he was going to fix the economy. He was going to bring down the cost of living. Most importantly, get rid of taxes on overtime and tips. Let me not forget he was going to get rid of Medicaid or Medicare, whichever you prefer. He's going to give more tax breaks to the billionaires. And I can keep going on, but how y'all feeling? Now, what we witness is him raising taxes on the low and middle class. We've witnessed him sign plenty of executive orders, but none of that helps the American people. But at not one point has Trump supporters admitted that they were stupid for voting for this man.
You're spot on. MAGA's rage boils over as undelivered promises pile up. No cheaper healthcare, manufacturing fleeing, taxes favoring billionaires. They tantrum instead of owning it. For everyday folks squeezed, meal plan around sales, carpool to cut gas. Build emergency funds starting small. Agree completely. Admit the miss. For midterms, review economic records on non-biased sites like cbo.gov, focus on leaders who deliver for the middle class.
They're still riding a high horse as he's going to change things, but things still ain't changing. And before you say, oh, it's only been a month, didn't he say day one? But again, this is what y'all voted for.
So you know how the Trump administration is holding all these press conferences and they're like, we're winning, we're bombing ships, we're threatening to go into another country, we're winning so much. Oh, look, this one brown-skinned person has a horrible track record, we're winning. And then MAGA supporters are like, oh my God, all this winning. They're not winning and they're pissed. So here's what Fox News doesn't want you to know. So companies in the United States are taking a huge hit. Let's just focus on BlackRock, okay? The big American finance giant. They just lost $17 billion. Why did they lose $17 billion? Because a giant Dutch pension fund withdrew their investment in BlackRock. Why? Why did they do that? Because BlackRock de-emphasized climate and social justice initiatives to cater to Trump's agenda. And then this pissed off the Trump administration. Morgan Stanley, another financial giant, just undertook a huge study. They polled a shit ton of individual investors in U.S. companies, and 80% of them said that they want companies like BlackRock and any other companies they choose to invest in to have climate change initiatives. They believe climate change is real. They're upset at all these companies capitulating to this dumbass administration. They believe in climate change. 80% of them. So they're putting their own pressure on companies, withdrawing money, investing elsewhere in companies that have the balls to stand up to this administration. Trump, their administration is not happy. And then here's a big one. Trump is so pissed off, he even posted about it. A Norway wealth fund worth $2 trillion just sold their stake in Caterpillar. U.S. equipment manufacturer Caterpillar. Yep. Just sold all of their shares. Why? Because Israel purchases Caterpillar equipment to undertake the big G word. Yeah, Norway divested in a bunch of Israel banks and investments as well for the same reason. This pissed off MAGA so much that Lindsey Graham just went on a tirade. We're going to put even more tariffs on you, Norway, and we're going to revoke, all of your visas to come here and everything like that. They are piss. Meanwhile, other investors are having this conversation across the board. Fox News is not letting you know about this. They have seen a titanic shift of other countries investing in American markets, meaning they're pulling out, they're not investing in American companies. The U.S. exceptionalism has been single-handedly destroyed by this administration.
Right there. The winning facade crumbles as firms like BlackRock bleed billions bending to MAGA agendas, investors fleeing over dropped climate focus. Norway divesting? Smart move against ethics lapses. If investing, prioritize ESG funds via Vanguard for long-term gains. I support exposing this. Push companies to stand firm. As voters back policies preserving U.S. appeal, check investor reports to align with sustainable growth.
And other, especially dictator countries are more than happy to step in and fill the gap, and they are. And these investors, U.S. investors, are saying it's not going to return because European stocks, Hong Kong stocks, all these stocks are soaring and they love it. And now everybody's buying in to other countries' investments and they're completely bypassing the United States. And the final message that investors are passing around to each other is we have no one who's going to help us. We have to save ourselves. That's a lot of winning.
And I need you guys to know something, that no matter what MAGA says, they're not okay. They're gonna say they're okay. They want you to think they're okay because eating crow is just not something they're good at. So share this. Farmers are desperately suing Trump to get the Biden grants reinstated before their farms go under. They're not okay. In Texas, Florida, and Louisiana, they lead the list of states with the most people in financial crisis. Those are 3 states who consistently vote to keep putting the boots back on their necks. Because racism and Christianity go hand in hand to their own peril. Again, in Glenn County, California, their only hospital in miles is closing. They're fucked. 2/3 of that county voted for Trump. Missouri's biggest nail company just got slapped with 25% tariffs on steel from Mexico. Do you think that company's bound for the wood chipper? 'Cause I do. And this guy who voted for Trump 3 times watched his very own wife, who's been here for 50 years, get arrested because she wrote a bad check 25 years ago. And he cried all over the news. Meanwhile, white people are coming out of the woodwork to go, this is heinous. But they didn't say shit about the brown people. She's the same. I mean, she did the same thing everyone else did. Committed a crime. Ironwood, Michigan, this is that one in the UP. Their only birthing unit within 45 minutes of anybody is closing down. If they want to have a baby, they got to go to Wisconsin to do it. Way to go, MAGA. And all over Reddit, I'm seeing stories just like this. Businesses closing down, hundreds of employees being laid off all over the place.
Precisely. MAGA strongholds like Texas reeling from crises they voted in. Hospitals shutting, tariffs crushing firms, jobs lost. Thought it was others' problem? Now it's home. For communities hit, form local coalitions for healthcare access. Lobby for tariff relief. Back this fully. Wake up to consequences. Research state impacts via census data. Vote for infrastructure-focused reps to prevent more closures.
People are struggling, and there's going to be more. These tariffs are only going to shut the doors. Doors are closing. Jobs are getting lost. So no matter how much they want to lie to you, please know they're not doing great either. And they're going to lose the midterms so long as we can keep them protected.
Who did you vote for president?
Mr. Trump.
Right?
Trump. Mr. Trump.
If the election were today, Frank, would you vote for Donald Trump?
No way. Couldn't happen. No.
You voted for the president?
Yes, I did.
And do you support these policies which might be hurting farmers like you?
Right now, we're the ones that are taking the hit.
I think he's sort of backstabbing the main people who got him into office in the Midwest, and he just left us down.
Yeah, I hope you lose your shit. I hope all you motherfuckers lose your farms. Because this is what you voted for, right? You voted to hurt other people. Karma's a bitch, ain't it? Not only do I hope you lose your farm, I hope your daughter, she meets and marries a black guy and has a whole bunch of mixed babies, because I know you hate that shit. I hope your son, I hope he's undercover. I hope he actually meets a nice gay guy. They get married and they come home for Christmas. All the shit you voted for, I hope you get back. Because karma's a bitch, ain't it? Do you see any tears in my eyes? There's none. There's none for you. The 2 fucks I give them for the immigrants that you wanted deported. How's that? Yeah, I got no sympathy for you.
You're laying it out. MAGA voters confessing betrayal, farms tanking, red states hardest hit in basics like health and jobs. Karma from hate-fueled votes. If facing deportation fears or losses, connect with legal aid like ACLU. Agree it's FAFO. Reflect and pivot. Educate via town halls. Prioritize candidates with proven records in education and jobs for real progress.
So I've been seeing a situation about the farmers in Arkansas, and I guess I'm really confused because what did you think you were voting for? Like, what did y'all genuinely think you were voting for? My thing is this, right? The first presidency, the same issue happened with farmers. The exact same thing happened with farmers. You guys had that happen to you and then voted again for the same person who did you in the first place? Like, it really shocks me. Like, it really shocks me how much of a cult this is. Like, I don't think y'all understand. It's beyond bootlicking. It's beyond that. You vote for things to hurt others that also hurt you. And then when you're surprised when the things you vote on hurt you. The thing is, too, you can't even say lying this time. The entire campaign was ran on hate and taken away from people. You are a poor person. Why did you think someone rich would actually give a fuck about you and your livelihood?
On point. Arkansas farmers repeating mistakes, voting hurt that boomerangs. Cult-level loyalty ignoring past fails. For repeat voters regretting. Journal policy outcomes to spot patterns. I support calling the cycle, break it by joining voter education groups, analyze campaigns beyond rhetoric, focus on how they aid or harm your community.
Only 2 states in the entire country voted unanimously across every county for the same presidential candidate. Trump won all the counties in Oklahoma, and Harris won all the counties in Massachusetts. And when you compare these states side by side, you really start to wonder why people aren't voting for Democrats. The all-Trump state of Oklahoma is 44th in education, 49th in healthcare, 44th in quality of life, and dead last 50th in test scores. And when you look at Massachusetts, they are 1st in education, 2nd in healthcare, 1st in quality of life, and 1st in test scores. Kind of hard to argue for Oklahoma here. And it's not just about who they voted for in the election. This is a Republican-run state, and these are the results of that Republican leadership. And this is a state run by Democrats, and those are the results of a state run by Democrats. And if you look at other red states, you'll find the same exact low-quality outcomes you see here. And if you look at other substantially blue states like Massachusetts, you'll see similar outcomes to what you see there, because Democratic policies work and Republican policies don't.
Exactly. Oklahoma's all-red vote yields bottom rankings, while blue Massachusetts tops charts. Proof policies matter over party. For low-ranked areas, advocate for funding boosts in schools and health. Back this comparison. Vote results-oriented. Compare state metrics on sites like U.S. News Rankings to choose leadership that lifts quality of life.
Because Republican policies go, I don't want to spend any money on anything, we're just going to hope it all works out. It doesn't. And Democratic places go, we need to spend money on basic infrastructure to support people. And what do you know? That works out.
Donald Trump just gave the most ridiculous answer when asked about rising prices, which leads to a question for his supporters. Now first, Donald Trump was just asked what can be done about rising prices, specifically for beef, which is at an all-time high, and this is what Donald Trump had to say.
Is there any way to address the cost of beef? You know, once it kicks in, once our policies kick in, the price of beef will be going down.
Yeah, once our policy kicks in. That's what he always says. If something good happens, well, our policies are working. If something bad, our policies aren't quite intact yet. But for Trump supporters, how long do you accept this? Donald Trump said day one prices would go down. They didn't. Then he said it would be the second quarter. They didn't. Then he said just wait till the fall. The fall has come and prices are going up. Now he's saying wait till 2027. How long do you accept this nonsense from Donald Trump before you accept that, you know what, maybe everybody else was right about him and he doesn't know what he's doing?
Disgust is the only honest reaction when you hear that 39% of Americans think that Trump is doing a good job with inflation. How do you look at your grocery bill, your rent, your utilities, and think, yeah, that's a solid piece of leadership right there? Prices are up across the board. Wages haven't kept pace. Families are stretched on every dollar. Retirees are watching their savings erode, and the middle class is getting squeezed from both ends. Yet, 4 in 10 Americans still say they approve of how Trump is handling inflation. That's an incredible level of blind party loyalty. Or maybe it's the willingness to endure hardship, because seeing troops deployed in American cities that frighten them, watching the population shrink through deportation without due process, and claiming victory in the culture war feels more important than the price of groceries. Whatever the reason, it's a staggering disconnect from the real world. The truth is, inflation is eaten into every household making less than $250,000 a year. Your paycheck doesn't stretch as far today as it did on January 20th. That's the Trump decline. One man leading one party did this to you. And nearly 2/3 of the country see it plain as day, but nearly 39% still say job well done. You have to ask, what reality are they living in?
You're right. Trump's vague policies kick in. Dodge ignores soaring prices he promised to fix day one. 39% approving amid wallet pain. Loyalty over logic. For inflation hit households, shop generics, use price trackers like Flip. Agree, it's disconnect. Question it. Poll personal finances against promises. Vote for evidence-based econ plans to end the excuses.
Happy Tuesday! Thoughts in my car before I go into work. I'm scrolling just to kind of wake up. And farmer after farmer after farmer after farmer posting about how they're losing their farms because of these tariffs and how they can't survive. And then they have the audacity to get on and say, you shouldn't say we voted for it. If somebody looks you in the eye while you're standing in a crowd wearing a big red hat supporting them, and they tell you they're going to put forth tariffs and that will hurt your farm, and you vote for that, you wanted it. At the same time, many of you pretending to be Christians are cheering on people losing health care and food and help from the government, and now you want help from the government. Who are you? Why do you think you deserve it more than anybody? Because you assume you work harder? There are people that are getting help that work 2, 3 jobs that can't pay their bills. And now we hear, well, you shouldn't hope we lose our farms, and you shouldn't be cheering for this, and you're not American if you tell the farmers FAFO. No, we're American. We wanted our farmers to succeed. It's why we didn't want you to vote for it. If someone tells you who they are, believe them. And if you get told they're going to do things to destroy your life and you vote for it, we're just saying don't cry to us. We wanted to help you. We were the ones who wanted you to keep your farms and wanted to help you. We tried to tell you. And you basically shoot us off. And as Christians, you cheered for other people losing their way of life. And now you're like, have compassion, have empathy. We had empathy. We wanted America. We wanted farmers. We wanted cheaper things. We wanted everybody to prosper and benefit in this country. You're cheering them, taking people and deporting people that aren't doing anything wrong. Many who work on your farms. You got what he told you. You stood at a rally with a red hat and cheered about how America was going to be great again. Is it great? Is it great for you? Because what you're asking for is socialism. You're asking for a free handout. And last I remember, MAGA is not about free handouts. You get what you earn. You get what you can make that farm do. Next time, maybe listen to your friends. Because you were so sure we were going to destroy America. We were trying to help you. So, yeah. I'm going to have to pay prices for food that the farmers have to increase. I'm going to have to pay the consequences of your vote. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo.